Okay, on to section 10.3. We're dealing with equations of lines. So here we have a couple of questions dealing with finding equations of lines given certain bits of information. All right, so here we want to find the equation of the line that passes through this point and has this slope. So you're given a point and a slope. The obvious starting point here is point slope form for the equation of a line. So hopefully we know where to find the equation of a line in what we call point slope form. We call this point x1, y1, and we have a slope of -2. And all we're doing is plugging these three values into this equation, leaving the x and y as variables because it's the equation of a line, right? Any x, y that makes this equation true is going to be a point on the line. So we're just going to plug in the y1 here, the slope here, and the x sub 1 here. So we end up with y minus a -5 equals the slope times x minus 4. And we'll clean it up a little. Y minus a -5 is y plus 5. And we get -2 times x minus 4. Now, this would be point slope form. If you were just asked for an equation of a line, that's the equation of the line. Many times we are asked for slope intercept form. So this is point slope form. Now, to get slope intercept form, just solve the equation for y. So to change from point slope form to slope intercept form, just solve the equation for y. Right, so we're going to come down here and say y plus 5, we'll distribute the -2, say -2 times x, it's -2x, and -2 times -4 is a +8. Okay? Well, slope intercept form we know is y on one side and mx plus b on the other side. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides, and then we'll have our slope intercept form. 8 minus 5 is 3, and that's our slope intercept form. Remember, slope intercept form is mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y value of the y-intercept, where we call it slope intercept form. So in this case, 0, 3 would be the y-intercept of this equation. This equation is the same as this equation. Point slope form, slope intercept form. Okay? So this is the case where we're given a point and the slope. We start with point slope form, we solve for y to get slope intercept form. Now, could have other given information to begin with. Like in this case, we are given 2 points. It has to come up with the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. Well, we have a point, either one, we can use any point on the line, but to go through the same method we did here, we need the slope of this line. Well, we know how to find the slope when we're given 2 points like this, right? So we'll call this one x1, y1, and we'll call this one x2, y2. And again, we know how to find the slope. The slope is the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. So it doesn't matter which one you call point 1, which one you call point 2, you're still going to get the same slope. Just be consistent between numerator and denominator with the order that you take these differences. So if I'm calling this point 2 and this point 1, my numerator here is going to be -4 minus a -4, and -2 minus a -3. So be careful with these numbers. We know how to deal with this. -4 plus 4 gives us 0. Right? -4 plus 4 gives us 0, and -2 plus 3 gives us 1. So we have a slope of 0 here. Okay? So as soon as we see that we have a slope of 0, we know this is a horizontal line. Right? Horizontal lines have slopes of 0. So in this case, notice the y value is the same for both of these points. So if we were to graph this, -3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, and -3 is on the graph, and -2, -4 is on the graph. So we can see that this is going to be a horizontal line just going through that y value of -4. So the equation of a horizontal line is sort of a special case. The equation of any vertical line, horizontal line is just y equals whatever the y value is on that line. In this case, it's -4. So the equation of this line is y equals -4, and that's going to be your answer. Okay, so special cases, point slope form and slope intercept form don't really apply. Well, they do, because the slope is 0. So if we look at this and use any point here, we would say y plus 4 equals 0, and then we would end up with y equals -4. Right? Same thing here. If we went with the point slope form, with either one of these points in the slope, we end up with this equation. But as soon as you see it's a horizontal line, all you have to do is look at the y value that horizontal line is going through, and that's the equation of the line. And similarly, if we have a vertical line, let's say we have a vertical line going through the x value of -2, the equation of any vertical line is just x equals whatever value that is. So the equation of this line would just be x equals -2. Okay. So horizontal lines, vertical lines, are sort of special cases where the equations are even easier to determine. All right.